Thank you for listening to the Unscripted Dreams Podcast with Joe and Marcus. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to email us at unscripteddreams@gmail.com. Please support us on Patreon at the Unscripted Dreams Podcast, where we have exclusive content. If you're listening on YouTube, you can find our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. Thank you.
All right, we're good.
All right, what's up, people? This is Joe.
It's Marcus. What's going on?
Let's get started. As we know, life is full of surprises, both good and bad, and the day-to-day journey is full of unforeseen obstacles, and sometimes it's hard to see our way through. Beyond the norm and mundane are where unscripted dreams live. Join us for thought-provoking discussions and interviews to help us navigate through the fog and create our own path. We are the Unscripted Dream Podcast, operating outside the margins to motivate and inspire our audience. Today's episode is preparation.
Preparation. Essential, very essential. Funny thing about this episode is that we agreed to do this topic before a lot of the things that have transpired in the past week occurred. So it actually kind of shifted and added to the material that and the things that we're kind of going to discuss today, which is a good thing because I definitely think we'll be going over some things that are essential and must be discussed.
Oh yeah, definitely, because things are starting to get out of hand now, and people are just doing a lot of things with little to any thought or regard for anybody else's situation or life. Nobody's being considered. Everybody's instantly shut down, and they're in this whole dog eat dog world type of situation right now.
Yeah. So one thing that brings me to, just as far as preparation, we all know preparation is just the active process of, being ready for something, any kind of event that may arise. And, we ask ourselves, why is it important to prepare? And, things that have occurred in, our country and around the world these past few weeks have really showed a lack of preparation, as a lot of people are now find themselves in a situation that they've never been in before.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's, with the whole coronavirus situation going on right now, this should be an eye opener for mainly people in our generation and lower. So like millennials and on down, like this should be like waking us up to like what baby boomers went through and so forth, as far as older generations when it was times of war, Great Depression, all that type of stuff. Like this is potentially, or it has potential to be like our Great Depression if it isn't already. Just to understand like what those people went through.
yeah. And also, one thing I'll say is that last time when the market things happened with the stock market, and with the recession in '07, '08 was really from 2007 to 2009. I remember I was in college. Joe, you were maybe about to start, or you were already in, probably freshman.
Yep.
So for me on my end, I was being in that college environment. I was kind of insulated from, what was going on in the world. It didn't really affect us, or it didn't affect me at that level. Like I didn't lose my job. I had student jobs. It didn't shut down the university or anything. It's not as what's happening now it's on a greater scale than it was 12 years ago.
Which is really hard to believe because, at that time in '07, '08, '09, I mean, I felt the pressure. Gas prices were astronomical at that time. I think they was like $4 to a gallon at one point.
Ooh.
So, it's really weird because, those type of dynamics is different now. Like we're in almost a similar situation or arguably worse. And we ain't struggling for gas. We ain't struggling for certain factors that we did back then. So it's kind of funny how you're affected by different things and how that all plays into like the whole scheme of things.
Yeah. So another thing is with preparation is, really asking ourselves, what are we doing to prepare for the unforeseen? Like, I know there's been people since that first recession that they made sure that next time something like this happened, that they would be prepared for it. So, the one thing I want to say is, the just the concept of, you know, making sure that you're doing things financially to kind of take care of yourself. One of the books, regardless of what people might think about Robert Kiyosaki, the author Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is a very popular book, is just the concept of paying yourself first. If there's one thing that I took away from that book the first time I read it, was paying myself first. And that was, I think before then I had a habit of, I would get paid and then I would pay my bills first. And I would pay all these other people before I took care of myself. So when I read that, I kind of told myself, well, let me see what happens if I pay, I'm going to pay Marcus first. And then we'll see what I have left for everybody else. And what I was able to develop was, a bit of a savings just from doing that. And it wasn't really paying myself first by, oh, I'm gonna go to the mall and shop and do things like that. Like, no, I'm gonna pay myself first and put money in an emergency fund or start investing money for when things aren't going well. That really, I think that really changed, some of the issues that I would run into. It didn't, absolve me of every issue that I had, but I had a situation where my car broke down and I needed like $700 to get it fixed. And because I embraced the concept of paying myself first, I had that money, you know. Now I couldn't afford that repair twice, but at least I did something and I prepared myself for what could potentially go wrong by, paying myself first. And that was helpful.
Yeah, man. Just to piggyback off of that, I didn't necessarily catch that phrase from him. I caught that phrase from my pops. He always used to tell me, save for a rainy day. I didn't really understand it or necessarily needed it because, the situations when I was in school, I was pretty much good. Like I could pretty much do with a lot less because I didn't need much at that time. But once I started getting out into the real world, I started to understand exactly what he was talking about. And, once I started doing that, man, shoot, I'm not trying to expose myself, but my savings that I pay myself is worth more than my retirement. So, that says a lot. So, I might not be like a huge investor or anything like that, but I am a firm believer in saving. Also, I'm not really big on credit cards either, if you know me. So if I don't got it, I ain't got it. So that was always my philosophy. Now that could definitely be detrimental, but at the same time, that's how hard I'm coming. Like I'm kind of old school like that.
Yeah, that's funny. I remember, I think when we first met in college, I remember we were talking about something. Are you like, yeah, I don't have use like I don't use credit or anything like that. And I was kind of taken back like that because everybody around me, we all use that, like we all use credit. So, I mean, Joe, you've been ahead of the game because I'm like the anti-credit now. But it took, it took some learning and some kind of bad experiences just to learn that if you don't have the money for it, like just don't buy it or save up for it. Because a lot of us, like in college, people were using credit to buy Xboxes, PlayStations, clothes, and like dumb stuff. So I mean, you really got to ask yourself, do you really even need it? You know. But I want to give you the credit for being ahead of the curve all these years.
I appreciate it, man. Now I just use credit cards just to buy something petty so I could run my credit score up. My credit score pretty great because I didn't fool with it when I was very irresponsible financially. So
a lot of us are trying to fix our credit right right now. Just because when you're young, I mean, I think just when you're young, if nobody teaches you about money, like you have to go out there and you have to learn it for yourself. And it's kind of hard because people don't know, you kind of don't know where to start.
I'm glad you said that, man, because I got friends that have parents that put bills in their name and stuff, and sometimes it ain't even on them. It's on like family members that got access to your most secure information, and they putting bills in your name because they stuff is jacked up. So by the time you figure out what's what, you know what I'm saying, you out there in the world on your own, and you can't even put you can't even get a car off the lot, let alone even get a house because your mom or dad got 6 months or a year back pay in some type of utility that you don't even know about.
Yeah, man, that's crazy that I don't even understand somebody could do that to their kids. But that's I think that really stresses the importance. I think that's why it's important that, like you were saying, your dad, told you save money, have money set aside for a rainy day, and it's important to. I think if you're a parent, if you let your kids know when they're young, kind of showing them the importance of, saving money. And this brings me, I'm reading this book. I think I just finished it, the Millionaire Next Door, I think, and they were kind of talking about the parallels between people who are like under accumulators of wealth and like prodigious accumulators of wealth, and just how that behavior is learned from their parents. Like there's a story in the book where um, this kid, his son wanted a swimming pool, and he saw everybody in the neighborhood, like all his friends had a swimming pool, and he asked his dad why he couldn't have one, and his response was, "Well, I can either get that pool installed, or I can pay for you to go to Cornell." And that was him trying to show his son that there's things that are more important than that immediate need, that immediate gratification. And if you take the time to be you know proactive and prepare, then when he went to school, his school was paid for. Would you rather have that pool that you're going to probably outgrow and not have time for, or would you rather have that college education from a prestigious university that'll open the door for you? So I just thought that was a good concept. And that, I think that book in general is a good book for someone who wants to, get a greater insight into how people who are proactive about their finances versus someone who just goes out and blows it all, you know, it's,
And
oh,
hey, man, I think that's a great concept to bring awareness to people. But I'm also understanding from a different point of perspective too. There's people out there that really don't got it, but they need it to survive. So, they may not understand that concept right away until they may get a little bit older. So, anybody listening, don't take this as being like an attack on your financials. That's not what this is about. It's more so about just building awareness as far as how important it is to be, to prep for that. You might not be able to save $100 each paycheck because you paying and you live in paycheck to paycheck, but you could at least save between $20 to $50 each paycheck. That's something I know. So if you got liquor or you got some kind of smoking or some type of vice, cut that off. Not cut it off completely to where you're not enjoying yourself to be in, but at least chip a little bit in, you know what I'm saying? Like if your grandma or relative or brother, whatever, send you like $50 for whatever reasons, just because they know you out here struggling, put that money up, put it away. You know what I'm saying? You didn't expect that money coming to you, so put it away. What I try to tell people, like, don't live off of your tax returns. Once you get that shit, put it up. Like, you know what I'm saying? You didn't intend for that to come. Well, I hope you didn't intend for that to come back. Like, I don't intend that kind of money to come back because I don't know when it's coming back. Right now is a perfect example. I don't know when that money coming back. So, so put that shit up, man. You know, the $1,200, everybody got the money burning in their hand already, and they ain't even recouped the money yet.
Yep.
So all I'm saying is, you know, put that shit up. If you have no idea of when you're getting money or you're getting money unexpectedly, that's an opportune time to put that up. That's what we mean by saving for a rainy day.
Yep. And Joe, I think you make a real good point on. I mean, you made a lot of good points there, but like living off your tax returns, I can remember just like always, claiming X amount of money, or your deductions had like a one or a two
Yep.
or something, and then I got to the point to where it's like I don't want to be somebody. I don't want to be the person that lives in anticipation of getting a tax refund, or not, well, living off my tax refund, or just like owing taxes and things like that. Like I essentially I claim zero, and whatever I get back, I get back,
Hmm.
and that goes to savings or investing or something like that. But not, I think it's just the mentality of not depending on that tax refund to come in, and
I, I totally agree with you, man. It's just a shame that, you know, people depend on that. You know, I understand that you get like a huge amount if you have like kids and, you know, you might be a first year homeowner or something like that, man. But that's when you really need to put that money up, you know what I'm saying? Because you can't predict when a kid gets sick or something bad happened to your kid. I hope it doesn't, but you got to prep for that. You got to be like a doomsday prepper at that point. Now, we not saying buy all the damn toilet paper like you see on TV, or fix the prices on hand sanitizer and Lysol. But we mean as far as like if a kid really in the hospital and you ain't got all the money, like your insurance ain't covering the medical bills, you gonna need some of that money. So that's what I mean by that. Put that money up, man. Don't anticipate on getting that back. You know, you should slap yourself for even touching that money, man. Like, it's a shame, like how we live paycheck to paycheck like that. I know the first thing that I knew about myself was, yeah, I can go out here and buy a Lexus. I can go out here and have all these rope chains like everybody else, and have all of this jewelry and stuff like that. But what's the real sense of it if I can't have any equity that I have put up somewhere? Like, I need to put that money away. You know, it's more to life. So, you know, I rather live slow motion knowing I can buy those type of things right now. But I know that that ain't the move. You know, I'm trying to set myself up to live comfortably. So that's how I see things now.
yeah, because what are those all that jewelry and those chains doing for you right now? If you've lost your job and you're trying to figure things out, might not be able to get gas in your car to get to where you need to be, might not be able to pay your car insurance, so you're riding dirty out here. You're just putting yourself at risk. So it's really thinking about the material things that we accumulate. What's the value that those things are adding to our lives?
Well, I mean, that's another thing. I'm glad you said that. So if you're gonna buy jewelry, make sure that it's real, so you can get some type of money out of it.
Pawn it off.
Something, but like, it's crazy out here, man. People rather look good. People rather go broke looking, trying to look rich. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. So another story. So I was working the other day, and I'm doing like physical labor, things like that. And my these boots that I was wearing, like the back of them kind of started, like they kind of peeled off a little bit. Now, I didn't want the back of my shoes talking, but I figure in the back of my mind, I'm like, I've had these boots for maybe 4 or 5 years, and I've made a lot of money in these boots. I've made thousands upon thousands of dollars in these boots. Probably some of my higher grossing clothing, my clothing item that I have. So I was like, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna go out spend X amount of dollars getting me some more work shoes. I was like, let me find some super glue, glue these boots back together so I can keep making money in them. So that's my, that's kind of the attitude. You have to figure out, where your resources best spent. Can you preserve what you have or save what you have, and I can use that money, that extra money that I didn't spend buying a new pair of shoes because I was, felt too proud to glue them back together. Like you wouldn't even know. You
So
know,
so who you think you are, man? You think you like Sonic the Hedgehog? You know how Sonic got them speedy boots, man? So you got money boots, bro?
yeah, man. All my clothes, man. All my clothes are an investment, man. Everything. When I put on an old pair of pants, I'm thinking about all the money I made in them. Like the longer I have it, the more value, it has, and that's how I see like my clothing items. Like I don't even like. I'm proud to if I can go this year without spending $500 on clothes. I'm pretty happy about that. Because it's like I said, I rather when you see somebody and you think they don't have like they're not worth anything because of how they dress,
Yep.
they look like kind of bummy. Like that's the person I want to be. Like look like not like I'm wealthy, not like I'm rich. You just think I'm just like a regular guy because I don't want you to know I have money when I do have it. But because I don't feel the need to be flashy about what I have. I rather have the security and know that if something happens to the economy, I'm gonna be straight. You know. Uh,
I hear you, man. That's actually pretty crazy. One thing I did see that was kind of positive was there's a lot more people, especially in the black community, that are bringing awareness as far as paying money for it. And what I mean by paying money for it is, there's people out here that are being proactive and actually telling their peers, like, now is an opportune time to buy stock.
yeah,
Like, that's something we ain't never heard of or seen before, and I actually commend those people for actually preaching to people to do that. I'm not necessarily a stock game type of person, but I see the opportunity right there. That's what a lot of people that do have money are doing right now. They like, oh, this gonna come back,
yeah,
but I'd rather put this money down that I already got saved. So whether you got $50 to 100, thousands, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you're a high roller where you want to put thousands in something. I don't trust it that much, but you could at least put 100 down or something. You know what I'm saying?
you do a little something with it. I mean, historically, the market has never not bounced back. So you have to keep that in mind. And there were people that were prepared. I mean, if you pay attention to any financial news, I mean, you know that the um the bull market was running for a pretty long time, and it was bound to
Happen.
happen. So people have been, as far as preparedness, like people have been preparing when things go bad in the market, like stocks are on sale. That's an opportunity. Like there's a huge sale going on in the stock market, and those people that were ready and they've educated themselves. And maybe there were people that in 2008, when the market went down, they thought to themselves, well, I don't have the education or the intelligence to invest in the stock market, but let me get my knowledge up so then next time something happens, I'll have the resources to take advantage of the opportunity. And that's preparedness and that's foresight because it's going to happen again. Like the market's going to bounce back and then it's going to fold again at some point. And, now's your chance to start getting ready.
What I've noticed is there's a trend with that. It seems like every 4 years, every time that somebody's up for running for office, is when catastrophes like this happen. Not only where it might be like a health scare or like a terrorist attack or something like that. It's always something major every 4 years if you guys pay attention to deadline or timelines. Every 4 years there's been some type of disease spread that's came out. This just happened to be the one that just hit for real. And with the whole politics and everything going on, it seems like there's always some type of economical curve too. So just think about that, man. It seems like every few years you get a shot to make a a pretty good move for yourself if you're in the right position.
Yep. And I think a good resource for anybody who's trying to get, the basic knowledge of the markets, I would recommend that you go to Investopedia and just subscribe, get on the email list, and they'll send you articles and, different things. And you can also go in there just from scratch. Like they built their platform to take someone with zero knowledge and get you to a point to where you're confident in your knowledge. So that's a great resource for someone who's looking to get started and doesn't know, where to go.
Can you say that one more time?
Investopedia.
Investopedia. You heard it, folks.
So go check that out. It changed your life. It helped me out. That was the resource somebody gave me. I was listening to him talk about stock. I had no idea what they were talking about. He just kind of advised me to go and use it as a resource, and I have, and it's really helped me as far as my confidence and my knowledge in the markets. And it also helped me kind of know where to go when I need specific information or what kind of books I should read and things that I should be paying attention to. So it's really, like I said, great for someone who's trying to get started. And if you don't have money, there's a ton of free information on there. So there's no excuse if you're thinking about, like, if you're trying to make an excuse that you don't have the money to learn or anything, you need to cut that out and go ahead and use that.
Yeah, you got to buy into knowledge, man, whether it's money or investing your time with somebody you don't even want to talk to, but they're resourceful. Like there's all type of ways where you have to buy into where you want to be. So don't think that this is going to be something that's easy, something that's going to happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? Like if it does come to you like that, then you're in a very good situation and you should take full advantage. But, you know, it doesn't come like that. So be mindful of that.
Yeah. And one thing that I want to add is, the importance of having a contingency plan in place for when things don't go well, and that's important to have. I mean, in life and business, just the power just of having a strong contingency plan can really it can make or break you. It can make or break your business. And that's how sometimes you see a business struggle because, that key person will leave a business and then things just fall apart because,
All the time. It happens all the time.
yeah, because you failed to cross train your employees, or you put too much stock in somebody, and then you've left yourself vulnerable to, certain variables, and then you have to pay the cost. So one thing, like you were saying, Joe, people living, paycheck to paycheck. It's important to understand like where you stand as far as your income. Do you depend on somebody? Is your employer, like, are you at your job? Are you just like a low level employee? Like, are decisions getting made? Like, are you a decision maker? Are you in the room when the real decisions are being made, or are you just on the receiving end of this is what you need to do? Because if you're not in control, you can be let go at any time. And that's important. So like every day I go to work, it doesn't matter. I know that I could get fired if I'm working for somebody else. It doesn't matter because the conversation that leads to you getting fired, the conversation that where people are talking about laying people off because they don't have the finances, the cash flow to keep you employed, those decisions aren't getting made. Those conversations are not being made while you're in the room. You just are on the receiving end of, sorry, we have to let you go, and that's it. So it's important that you take the time to understand how much of your livelihood is in the hands of other people. And you need to be proactive, and you need to prepare yourself for what happens when if you lose your primary source of income. Like
That's Yeah, man. That's the reason why I take pride in building my resume with a bunch of, I guess to some people, it might be unuseful things. Like I'm the type of person where my professional, I might work this specific job because it has this specific experience. Like I'm one of those people that work a bunch of different jobs in the same field. So it lets people know that I could be placed anywhere versus just doing the same damn position over and over and over and over. Like that has some merit in it too. But what I'm trying to say is you want to kind of spread that to let people know like this guy's adaptable to any situation. And that's what I try to bring to the table. Some people are really like straightforward and they don't really see it. They're just like, how does this connect to this, to this, to this, to this? And realistically, some people are naturally curious and some people really try to do it to kind of like belittle you. But realistically, every position you take relates to the previous position, whether it's a whole entire different field. It's all about perspective. Now, how you communicate that information to other people, that's on you. But what I'm trying to say is don't let nobody talk you out your own profession and what you do to put food on the table every day, man. So just think about that, man. So when you're out here in the field, you have all these opportunities. Try to do things that are different than your previous occupation. So when it comes to a situation where you're either backed into a corner, you don't want to necessarily be stuck in that quarter. You want to have as many options as possible to get out of there. And that's what I mean by that. I hope that makes sense.
It does. I think just having options is it's critical. It's critical now, because now you're seeing if you're one dimensional, you're kind of your box. You've boxed yourself in. You feel like you can't really get out of that situation. But like you were saying, Joe, if you're adaptable, then you can maneuver and kind of figure yourself out of a bad spot. And I feel like that's why preparedness, is essential. Because if you know in your mind that things could go wrong or you could lose your job, or if eventually things will happen with like the stock market and the economy, then it's important to have different skill sets and different experience that will allow you to thrive. Because it was um, my girlfriend showed me that her tattoo artist. I mean, of course, now people can't be in close contact, so you would think that a tattoo artist wouldn't be able to work, but her tattoo artist actually now she just went to instead of doing tattoos, she's actually is like painting abstract pictures because she's already an artist. She's just taking it from doing it on somebody's body to doing it on a portrait. So she found a way to adapt what her skill set was, and now she's able to apply that and still make money during this off pretty much this complete shutdown that we're experiencing right now. So one thing, being it's important to be creative, but it's also I'm pretty sure that this lady had the idea that well, if things don't go right in this department, I can just bump up the production in another department of my profession, and I'll be able to make income that way. So I said I think that I thought it was pretty smart.
Shoot, send me her information. I wouldn't mind checking her out.
Yeah, it might get that to you. But yeah, Joe, I think you said a lot of good things just about. And if you want to see, I know Joe, you mentioned Doomsday Preppers. If you have Netflix, they actually do have. There's a show, and I watched it recently, But these folks are taking stuff they're taking things to the extreme. Like somewhat, you would think it's overkill the way they have things set up, but they take their survival seriously. And even though you might watch it and you might think like it's a bit overkill, you can see in their mind they're thinking worst case scenario. I need contingency plans in place to ensure the survival of my their families and things like that.
You want to know what's kind of pathetic though?
What's
People want to be doomsday preppers at the last damn minute. Like that doesn't make sense to me. If you're a real doomsday prepper, there's no waiting. You've already had the stash in the crib prior to the situation. So you already got X amount of toilet paper in your house You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is all these fake doomsday preppers, man, they need to get out of here with that mess, man.
Toilet paper, like that's gonna save your life when things get hard.
Get a Twinkie, man. At least they got shelf life of several years.
Yeah, you know that's gonna last, bro. Twinkies don't fold.
So yeah, man, let me end with this, man. Yeah, Twinkies don't fall. So let's go back to the term preparation makes victors, okay? So remember to always make room for adjustments. Don't max your money out by living paycheck to paycheck. Save it for the next step in your life, whatever that may be. It would definitely provide cushion for future endeavors, whatever that may be, whether you're in a sticky spot or maybe it's to help you put a down payment on a house or something worth value. Always stay upbeat even when you have every reason to cry. That's very important during savings because I know how easy it is to burn money and blow money. I've been there. So, especially in situations where you're going through something. So, um, just try to stay upbeat and positive and try to put a lock on your money or whatever you have that's valuable to you. So soon, eventually, you'll see a stronger you by understanding that preparation makes champions. So let me repeat that. Sooner or later, you'll understand the preparation, which makes champions. So always look at the bright side of things. Like it may not be recouping or you may not be having a great time right now, but I'm pretty sure hindsight 2020 when that day comes and you have the funds or you have the resources, I'm pretty sure you're going to feel that much better that you took the time to discipline yourself.
Yeah, those good tips, man. My thing in closing, I just like to say, just take control. Take control of your situation. If things are going bad, make a promise to yourself to never let this impact you how it's impacted you again. I mean, and that's something you can do today. You don't have to wait for anything. You can actively start taking steps right now to ensure that you never fall victim to this kind of circumstance.
Wise words from a decent man.
Decent. But no, that's all I got, man.
Same here, man. So, yeah, thank you for the support, and I hope you guys continue to listen as we bring you some great content. So, take it easy.
All right, be safe. Take care.